Within a week, I was drinking daily.
How many bottles, if you can remember?
Ilikuwa mzinga ya Napoleon. There's a day I almost committed suicide. So I was drunk all the time, and very angry. I was a very angry person.
Welcome back to the Tracydee TV. My name is Daisy. People tend to think success is believing and being. In today's episode, we are bringing you a young man who has gone through it all. Join me as we meet Tommy Lee. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Daisy.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We are well.
Habari ya Nairobi.
Salama sana.
Karibuni Kisumu. It's hot over here. And just feel free, feel welcomed. I was looking forward to this interview.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Now as we start, kindly introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Tommy Lee Osborne Owiti. Some
Where did
people
you
say,
get this name from?
Wajaluo na jina zao. But T.L. Osborne was my father's friend, the infamous evangelist named T.L. Osborne. And so my father named me after his best friend, T.L. Osborne. So the Owiti is just to have my father's surname, the late Silas Owiti. So that's my name. Some people call me Tommy, some people call me Tom. Some artists call me Lafam from my past. So that's who I am. Yeah, I'm an evangelist by calling. I'm a project coordinator, manager by profession. I'm a musician, more of hip-hop producer by hobby. And above all, I like motivating the young people, reaching out as a motivational speaker sometimes, encouraging the youth and all that. Yeah, so that's who I am. I'm a writer, I'm a student. Sitaki kuendelea, the list is so long.
What do you study, right? Huh?
Well, I'm taking a PhD in project planning and management, specializing in monitoring and evaluation
Okay.
of projects.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself.
Thank you.
The list is long, but it is okay.
Yeah.
Now, would you kindly take us through your journey?
My journey.
Yes.
I'm thinking of where to begin.
Take us when
from
you were,
baby age.
Yes, baby age.
So I grew up in a Christian home, okay? And I grew up with Christian parents, like most of the PKs are. Both my parents were in the church ministry for a long time. Most of the people maybe know my father. My father's name is the late Archbishop Silas Owiti. And he was a Pentecostal founder of, I would say, Pentecostalism amongst the Luos. And my mother's name is Archbishop Winnie Owiti. So you can see two archbishops' names there. So I grew up in a home of strong believers and founders of a church. So growing up, tulifanya a lot of memory verses, Sunday school, maze, we were, yani church, we were, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but church ilikuwa na sisi mpaka hapo.
I can't see the picture. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, hey, maze, church ilikuwa everything ni church. Unafika home ni church.
Ni church.
Alafu unajua kitambo haikuwa like these days. Kitambo watu walikuwa wanatembeleana sana. So you'd find kwa hao, yani service iko kwa hao. Like you just minding your business, maybe like it's a Tuesday. Watu wamekam prayers home. Yani ni service, watu wanaomba mpaka hata saa 7 na wewe ni mtoi, so una join, unalala huko and all that. So that's how my childhood was basically. So I grew and started, you know, getting an interest in music. So by the age of about 10, 11 there, I was really into music. And I wanted to play musical instruments and all that, go to school, musical school maybe, but hazikuwa hizo opportunities. Although I took music in primary school. So I started playing instruments in church. When your instruments will come, only late when I was now about 14.
14 years.
Yeah, so I started playing the drums. Ukiangalia the church yetu ya Vosh those days, I was the first drum ama drumist. Nasikia tongea so drumist, but it's a drummer. So I was amongst the first. So and I was 14. So naweza imagine nilikuwa 14, nilikuwa hapo natoa praise and worship, wanaimba na mimi ndo nacheza drums. And hakukuwa na mtu anaweza cheza like drums or guitars at that time. So that's my journey with the church, and I would say the highlights of my childhood with the church. I enjoyed when we met with other pastors' children. We played, tunacheza hapo sai kuna conference. You know when you're like 8, 9, 10, hauwezi kaa kwa conference the whole day concentrating. So since hizo ndio ilikuwa system ya church yetu, and in those days I took a lot of youth activities. I'm a children's ministry sana. So children were also part of your main service. So we used to like tukishaka service moja au mbili, we just go and play. So I grew up with other pastors' children, which was really fun because we understood our lifestyles and all that. And so that was basically how my childhood was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've taken us through the journey of being in teen until now. You are playing drums in church. You have interactions. Now take us through I guess that is through your primary level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take us through your secondary level.
Secondary level. Let me have a glass of water. So secondary, secondary is so funny because I went to I went to primary school in Kisumu.
In Kisumu.
Saverian Primary School. And so I went to secondary school in Thika, in Mangu High School.
Okay.
So it was a culture shock.
What was shocking?
Sikujua accent ya huku ya Wajaluo iko so prominent when you go outside Kisumu. So when I was talking, first people make fun of you, like, hey, ona asikia accent yake, hao watu wanaongea, and they make fun of your accent. So unajua ukiwa Kisumu, I went to a good school, it was Saverian, which was one of the top schools Kisumu. So tulikuanga tuna feel si tuko poa. So ukienda huko tena unapata you're like nobody tena. And people, when ndio sasa mko underdogs, because the majority of what walikuwa huko were people from, other tribes, central, all that. Actually the Luos were the minority in that school. So unapata, first it was culture shock, and because of that there was the urgent need to fit in. What can I do to fit in? Kama ni masomo, kila mtu ni chopi. So you are no longer, you're used to top 10. Number sijui unaitwa number 4. I was always between number 4 to 6 most of my primary school life. So unaenda huko mazee unapata ulikuwa number 30 sijui 5. You're like, sheesh.
What was the reaction of your parents now that here you are number 6, then now in high school?
It's not parents, it's to you. You yourself, you are in culture shock. Yani uko una go through mental issues, shock, and in those days akukuwa tena, thank God squeezy young people wako na chances za mental health education. Akukuwa nazo. So nobody's really there to ask you what are you going through. And coming to look at the challenges I went through later in life, I think these were some of the roots. Because umeenda huko, you really just want to fit in. Identity issues. So you want ukwe relevant to that group. And back in the days, what used to identify me ilikuwa una pass. You in school, una excel in hizo subjects. Now you ain't matter anymore. Now who are you then without that? So then I remembered, I have a gift in music. And I had been already writing rap songs these days by the time I was 10 to 14. So by the time naenda high school, I'm already ahead of many people in rap. So nikasema okay, the end of time Insider magazine ilitoka. The high school magazine inaitwa Insider. The year tuliingia high school is the year ilikuwa launched. So they came to our school and they opened a talent like event or something. Wakasema watu wana talent waende wa present. So I was debating because unajua niko like kani football watu wanakupiga huko mguu, yani unasema siwezi cheza futa. Kani basketball, I wasn't that tall, even though I was in the basketball department. So sikuwa kwa the main team. So I'm like, what will I be doing here that will get me attention? Ama itafanya nipate hiyo acceptance that I'm also relevant. You see what many young people wanna go through. So thank God when I step on the platform, I just got bold, nika rap. One of the songs I had written before nikiwa primary school. Strangely, people liked it. Watu waka clap, and it turned out I was so good. So right after that,
How did you feel?
I felt accepted.
You wanted to fit in the group.
Yeah, finally,
that is what you are struggling with.
Yeah, finally I'm fitting in with something. Kuna kitu sasa naweza kashikilia pia mimi hapa Mangu, watu wanikumbuke with this. Unaona? So because when it comes
Why were you finding your identity? From what you're saying, it's like you are really struggling to find your identity in school.
Well, first of all, if you don't have identity in Christ, it's everybody's trying to find their identity, but true identity is found in Christ. Jesus Christ showed us how human beings are supposed to be. If you read about Jesus, not David, not Moses, they were good people, but unapata David, for example, killed somebody for the wife. Moses aliangusha tablets. You find God alikuwa na anger issues. Or Abraham, lied about the wife and all that. If you look at a perfect person you get, it's Jesus. So because I didn't know this as a teenager, I was looking at what I was being shown, like hearsay, other teenagers, comparing myself with others, and basically the need to just feel accepted.
Accepted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kukua accepted. That was the importance. So I think that was the main
So
reason.
after you've presented your hip hop, take us through.
So after hip hop, I get a deal to record a song. I didn't even know producers. Unajua nimetoka huku Kisumu, nimeenda Nai, Thika, Mangu. And the only place I know in Nairobi very well at that time ni Buruburu, so Buru. But Buruburu ilikuwa neighborhood, very vibrant. So I made some friends there. So during the holidays, tukapanga with some of my friends to record a song. So tukachanga pocket money. Tukachanga kabisa, we went to a studio, we recorded the first song.
Can you remember the name of the studio?
K Family Records.
Okay.
Producer Hiram. So si tukaproduce the first song. Ilikuwa inaitwa K9. Our group ilikuwa inaitwa K9. And strangely, it became a hit song amongst high schools.
Can you remember the song?
I remember two chorus. K9. Watu tunawaroga. Sikiza hata sipendi kusema watu tunawaroga. Haturogi watu though.
Can you take it again? I would like to listen.
Watu tunawaroga. K9. K9 is everywhere. K9 is in the area. Moja mbili tatu. Well, right now I think I still do rap music, but my lyrics are way better. So strangely your song ikakuwa hit song. So now imagine sudden like an explosion of exposure. Hizo days akukuwa na ati my Instagram manini. So nile exposure, like we are being invited to other schools. Kumbuka nilianza na identity crisis yangu hapa kutoka Kisumu, nimefika Nairobi, you're not fitting in anywhere. Like accent yako, hata nikiwa Buru, I had friends, yes, but I think I only had like 3 very close friends who accepted me. But unapata wengine, they always, because majority walikuwa, let's say, were not Luos. So kulikuwa also na that, watu wapendangi kusema, but for me, kulikuwa na that prejudice. Like there's a perception that, watu wa Kisumu, ignorant, wanatupanga mawe, vituka hizo. That was the mentality of kuna toka Kisumu.
And it affected you
so
mentally.
Of course that affected me to some degree, because I wanted to fit in. So na try kushow msee, okay, hata si tunatoka Kisumu, we also have something to offer. And so anyway, nilikuwa place nimederail. Exposure.
Yes, exposure.
So see, we get this exposure. Tuna-invitiwa to other schools. So unaona venye watu wenda music festival. Sisi tuna-invitiwa to accompany watu wa drama and arts and all that to go and perform that song. Because ilikuwa imepewa category, ilikuwa recognized by the school as urban something, ilikuwa kitu kama
Urban music.
Urban music, ilikuwa na name walipatia kwa shule yetu. Urban composition, something like that. Kulikuwanga na category ka hiyo music festival. So wali recognized by the teachers, everybody knew that kuna hii section ya shule yenye na comprise of artists and rappers and all that. So hao pia wanaenda. Na niko form 1. Just do you get the picture? Sio form 4 au form nini. Hii exposure imekam niko 14 years old. Actually 15 by that time, 15. Na already unaenda, unapiga show, watu wana, by then niko exposed to perform like Kenya National Theatres, na perform in schools, kina Buruburu Girls, wana to invite kwa functions out, tuna perform there. So I'm interacting with celebrities, because kwa hizo functions unapata, they invited pia watu ka kina Isa, wame-invite kina Nameless, wame-invite. So we are looking up to those guys. Like, hey, I want to, mi pia nataka, naeza kwa kaumse, you know. And hizo days, siku hizi nilikuwa shocked, nilikuwa naongea na some youth, ananiambia siku hizi watu wa mind sana dressing. In our days, like ilikuwanga, kama uko na fashion, yani, ka hizo days kulikuwa na side pocket. Kuna side pocket, side P, mazee wewe ndio kusema. Alafu kuna time Timberland boots zimekam. Kwa una timba, timba ilikuwa expert, ilikuwa sijui 12k, sijui 15k. Mazee wewe ndio kusema, ilikuwa rare, ilikuwa so rare to get Timberland boots. So unaona, so tunaangalia maselebo wamevaa hizo manguo, yani mafubu, you know, they're dressed in fubu, wamevaa madurags, hata ungejua penye unatoa durag. So
na shades,
shades once in a while, na shades nazo zilikuwa. But so unajua, ile nikaona, hii kitu naweza nipeleka mimi pia ni kwa even a superstar. But you see, this is all feeding a gap yenye ilikuwa from the church. Because hatukuwa na youth activities, teen activities, nothing. A talent thing kwa church hakuna in those days, in the church I was in. Thank God now they have them. Now
and that one brings in a question.
Yeah.
How did your parents take it when they realized that here you are, you have a hip-hop song and it is not in a Christian way?
You'll always hear me talking about my dad. My dad was the coolest dad, yani. Hakuwa na issue. I think my dad was he was very prophetic. He used to just say, wewe ni mhubiri, you are a preacher, you will preach all over the world. No matter what happened, alikuanga tu anasema, he never at any day sat me down akanigombeza or akani-condemn or anything. But my mom was really, really fighting this thing. And I think most mothers wako hivyo. Like most mothers wako na hii, I don't want to use a negative word, but wako na hii motherly concern.
Yes, they defend the child,
Yeah,
and they try to put you on a line.
Wanataka the child grow in a certain way, and they are so worried that the worst can happen. And I think by that it creates a cycle of worry which can even be damaging to a relationship between a mother and a child. Unapata sometimes it's better off wache tu mtu. You have faith in that child wambe say, okay, this child wangu anapenda dance. I don't understand dance, but let me try support them. But you find most parents, especially for my interaction, because I interact with very many mothers who are having challenges with their children. And that's my new mission, by the way, that I feel called to do, to restore families. Because I had a challenge with my own mother, So I've seen the common factor is, unapata the child maybe alikuwa na do something which is strange to the parent. Not strange ati ni mbaya. Maybe the child anapenda ku DJ. Maybe ameweka dready, maybe ameweka tattoos, maybe ameweka earrings, maybe pierce, maybe enda club, maybe you know, all these things. But you find the first reaction of most of the mothers I'm meeting is that wanaanza kuscold this child, kumgombeza, ati ndiye awache. Then the child because maybe the mother haku understand. Unapata maybe mtoi alienda club, si ati alienda club juu anataka kuenda kufanya vitu mbaya. Maybe alienda club because alisikia kuna function anaweza karap, apate a win, kama sisi hizo days. Ama unaweza pata ameenda huko because maybe it's the first time aja experience. If you have such a child, it's better ukae naye chini, mwambie nyewe mbona ulienda club? Really happened? What was the problem? Instead of kuanza kumgombeza.
So take us back to the story now. You are at Buruburu Girls, you've done your presentation.
Yeah. So I've done my presentations at Buruburu Girls, and then not only that, we've gone to Bishop Ngatimu, tumeenda Chalks, tumeenda Kiriri, St. Lucie Kiriri. No, Kiriri came to our school. They used to come for a function. Tumeenda State House Girls. So tunakuwa famous. So with that kind of fame, unapata, we start to mengia dating life. Kuna dame, nini, all that. So
when you were in Form 1, already you had
of course,
a girlfriend. Hey!
You make me feel like I did such an evil thing.
Not evil.
but that was normal to us. But anyway, because unajua unakuwa exposed to these things.
You are also trying to catch up with life, huh?
Yeah, because that's it. Like the notion ilikuwa ukikuwa na demu supu, wewe ndio kusema. That's the identity of this world. Money, when you have a lot of money, and you have, if it's for a man, you have money and a beautiful woman and a nice house, nice car, good job, then that's your identity. And maybe for women it's the same. If you have money, if you look beautiful, if you have a good house, a good job, and a car maybe, then now you are fitting in. So now that's not the identity of God. And kwanza mtu ana live by that, if any of those things crumbles, then they have to face some serious mental issues, because they peg their whole life on a false identity. But that's where we were. So me, I had nilikuwa na, you know, I had a lady nilikuwa nayo at that time from State House Girls. She was a very beautiful lady at the time. So because ye pia alikuwa very popular in her school. So unapata amongst the schools in Nairobi, most of the people wa hiyo time wanatujua. So fame inaanza kuspread within Nairobi itself. I'm still in high school. Makiu sasa niko maybe sasa Form 2. We record the second song tukiwa Form 2. Ikaendelea mpaka Form 4. By the time tuko Form 4, we are going to cut and raise for TOK wakikam Kenya.
So how many songs did you produce while in high school?
An album. We had an album.
You had an album?
Yeah, we had an album. Because by the time we were in Form 3, we got a record deal. Kama hiyo group yetu ilikuwa inaitwa K9. So we were 3 friends. And one of the producers was a brother to our friend. Anaitwa producer Hiram. He's still a famous producer at Asai. I produced Skin Up Bass and all that. So he gave us a deal because we were very skilled at it. And so we were no longer paying to record. So we would just had to avail ourselves and we drop verses kwa studio. So we had an album first. Tukaanza hata promote, we were going now. Right your point, your form 4, actually by form 4, we're now really doing a lot of major shows during the holidays. So na mimi nikacha come home. Sana nataka nibaki Nairobi. Watu wakifunga. Which was a big friction with my mom. Because yana insist ukifunga kuja nyumbani. So I think naenda Kisumu maze, and the studios huku hazikuwa bado zimeshika, like even if it was music na kuja huku napata I can't, siezi produce huku, siezi hata do shows. So I'm like, mimi narudi Nairobi. So ili leta, when you see a lot of kids wanna go through that, kuna something underlying, and I think many parents need to really open their eyes instead of just wengi anasamanga tu anapenda Nairobi amepotea ukarudi, but they don't want to have conversations with their kids on what's really happening. Yeah, so that's how nikaanza sasa my music career. Right after high school, now I was full-time producing, doing shows and all that, and then now nikaenda to campus. So when I went to campus in Moi,
before you tell us your
right.
journey in campus,
yeah.
Tell us, while in high school doing hip hop, coming back home, still it is about prayer. How was it affecting your life?
You know, at this time, deep down I still loved God these days. It's just that I had found an identity. That's why I keep saying, issue identity is very important. If teens can find where they feel like wana feel au ni wanoma, if I would put it that way. That's what teens want. A teenager anataka tu afeel ni mnoma at something, where people wanamsherekea, wana. So even if kuna hizo events like football, swimming, and you encourage the teens with talents, then it will save a lot of issues. So me, I still loved God. I still went home naenda hizo prayers, but now you could see my persona in a change. I had my first tattoo in high school. So niko na tattoo, nilipias maskio, so my hairstyle na imechange.
Where is your tattoo?
It's in my arm.
Okay.
But so naona watu wanaanza kunotice culture ya mse ina change. And in those days, like, tattoo was so evil. Like umekuwa na tattoo. So we hide it, unajaribu kuhide and all that. But finally people still notice.
What was the response of your mother?
My mother Stacy was all. My mother, hatukuelewana with my mother. High school, we were not agreeing. Actually, we ended up becoming, I don't want to say enemies, but we really had a fight. Yeah, very serious conflict with my mother. Because she's a very strong woman. And I'm also a very strong personality, na tusikilizani. So I would really give her my peace of mind is and she would give me hers as well. So it was, I was avoiding home. Sikuwa napenda kukaa home because we were not really in good terms with her at that time.
Okay. So yeah. Take us through the campus life.
Campus life, now see, unajua mimi, first of all, I was called to niliitwa Moi. So in Moi campus, I get to my room and I find people drinking.
The first time.
Yeah. So there's this freedom to drink, like watu wanakunywa. Nobody is like watching you, because back then in campus we used to steal. Unaenda club, you drink kidogo, all that. But now you're in this place, your roommate is, one of your roommates akona na mzinga kwa room.
Kwa room.
Yeah, and a cigarette in his hand. And I remember my mama akikam, we were with her. Kuniwacha, she said a prayer. Akaniacha hapo, you know, gave me a Bible, tell me, you know, God is with you and all that. So you get there, and the first challenge with campus was now alcohol. Because now I got really into it, because your lifestyle, your hip hop and all that, and then you have another now culture shock. This another diverse, because I thought nitaenda campus in Nairobi, but now I've gone to Eldoret. I don't know anybody there. So ni village tena. Ni more village than hata sasa Kisumu to me. So again fitting in tena, another level. But now you are a grown up and now you're supposed to study, na nafanya course yenyewe hata sikuwa na enjoy at the time.
You are doing which course?
Sociology and philosophy. Philosophy I really enjoy, but I remember sociology I didn't like it. So so here I am. I'm seeing my days and naona like a whole week is so boring. I spend 90% of the time either drinking or just chilling, watching a movie or vitu kama hizo. And you just, I think derail sana in campus. That's when the problem started. Campus sort of became my window into alcoholism. So how this happens, hata siwezi elewa. Alcoholism is like any addiction. And I've actually been talking to young people about addiction. Addiction is a spiritual thing, number one. And it combines with the mind, inakuja na kwa mental. So there's a way God created human beings that you have control. So unapata, there's a hormone inaitwa dopamine. Dopamine ikikuwa released inatoa some level of gratification. But release over and over inakuwa addictive as well. And the devil now anapush watu into that and addiction begins.
So how many times were you taking alcohol in a day?
It
or
increased
within a week,
because within a week I was drinking daily.
How many bottles, if you can remember?
Ilikuwa mzinga ya Napoleon. Napoleon is 750 ml of the hardest brandy ever existing. So that was like a hangover daily. So that I would do that like every single day. And I think one tragic thing that happened while in campus, which I'm also writing about, is in campus I had there's a day I almost committed suicide. And I had unajua venye watu wanaenda campus, people go to campus, and I was addicted to alcohol, and I was you know, I needed some money. But because I had become an alcoholic and I had lied to some of my relatives in the process to get money for alcohol, so nobody could send me any cash. So I was really broke at that time, to the point of one day I was sleeping hungry in campus. Yet, you know, because my parents are very known, I could see some of the people we support wako na food. You know, living very well off. And that thing sort of depressed me, and I was like, yani nimefika hii point where I can't even, you know, get like nalalanja, I'm sleeping hungry for real, for the first time. Now, you must realize that I didn't know myself. My identity was in the clubs, in the alcohol, with the women, with party. So I didn't even know that if I could have just shared even with a pastor and get this idea. So me, I was thinking like in that system. So one night we go to drink with friends, and we was drinking and smoking weed. A lot of weed. We had a lot of weed that day. And my friend naishi the last floor, 7th floor of the girls' hostel. So we are in that hostel, and ni her room, then the steps zinaenda to the top, which is a flat place with tanks and all that for Zamaji. So we drink and we just I think that's heaviness. Just like, what am I doing here? Nico, Eldoret, a boring university. What's the essence of life? My mother and I we are not close with my mom, you know. Out on nataka nikuwe a preacher. I don't want anything with that. I don't want to be involved with church. You know, I don't have the money I want to have, because most young people imagine, like I was still imagining that by that time I'd be driving big cars, and I have big, because I was thinking I would be a celebrity and all that. So I'm depressed, but I was very drunk. So I climb up the building, and I'm having these thoughts in my mind. And I'm thinking, I'm just thinking them. Kumbe, I'm walking towards the edge. So I'm walking to, and I have a bottle of, by that time tunakunywa KK, Kenya King, 750. I have a full one. I could drink a full one alone. So I'm staggering, nikienda huko, and I stood now on a ground. Now like I'm at the edge, I'm seeing the ground. I'm like at a place, I'm just seeing like my feet go up, and this is the ground. And I'm staggering because I'm very drunk. And I'm thinking, I was just talking to myself, like, you just rather just jump. What's the essence of all this? And in the process of that thought, for about 1 minute, as I'm debating, because there was another hostel right next to your hostel, yenye tulikuwa. Watu wako Moi know it. Nilikuwa, it was hostel K and L. So I'm seeing the other hostel on the other side. I'm seeing watu wakitembea chini, and it's far huko chini. And I hear my friend, anaitwa Faith. Akakam, she just came yelling, paka mimi pia nikashtuka, and crying. And she just grabbed me and pulled me all the way to room yake. So nafika room, I find her ana cry sana. Me, I don't know what's happening. She's really crying. So it happens. I sober up. Then she starts narrating to me. Bado wako concerned. Everybody amekuja, kuna intervention. My friends wamekam. Naona watu wajafurahi. Watu were like, something really bad was going to happen. Ako like, why were you trying to kill yourself? I'm like, me, I wasn't trying to kill myself. Because I was partly high, partly, I think, the devil. So at that particular point, Miss Kwana, I wasn't thinking straight.
You were in depression.
Yeah, sort of.
You were not accepting yourself.
Yeah, so they started crying, and that's when it hit me like, hey, Jana, I could have died yesterday, you know. Yesterday I could have jumped. So that was a scary thing. But you see, that was not all. So after that point, I think now I even sunk deeper into alcohol again. You would think mtu atawacha. So I was now, because I now realized that I had reached a point where I didn't care whether now I live or die. So I was drinking, even if I die in the process, it's all good.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I was drunk all the time, and very angry. I was a very angry person. That's what happens kama mtu asikilizani with the parents. There's something that happens. Because you deep down, you need that love and you need that relationship. Na kama iko,
but it's not
people,
coming.
But it's not there. So you feel rejected. And that's how I felt. I felt like my mom rejected me and didn't want to have a conversation. Or for me, unajua Wakristo yani, wanasema huyu anakunywanga pombe, they leave you. They don't want to go and talk to you. They don't want to understand why. So hata mimi niliachwa hivyo at a point. And I kept feeling like this was too bad. But thank God later, God used somebody again, another friend, later in life, who was my mother's friend, but was also my friend, and alikuwa Christian, but was willing to come with me to the club one day. And akasikia nikipoa my heart out about the things I was going through.
So you were going to club to tell other people what you're passing through?
No, I was, I was after campus, because in campus when nikakuwa addicted, that's when I got addicted to alcohol. So after campus, I started doing events in clubs. So I was organizing, like now I'm organizing a youth event in church. It's from the experience that
that you had in clubs.
So I used to organize
events
in clubs. So we do the posters, we advertise, we call people, that after the artist, how you'll pay them, and we have deals with the club. Sometimes clubs tell you, people have to buy alcohol. And
Is
they're
that the
given a
reason why
target.
you are doing project management? Because it seems you knew how to organize an event perfectly.
I, th- I think the project management came later. I think that was a gift. I realized, kumbe, I'm good at this thing.
Organizing.
I can organize things very well. But
So before you take us to now after campus life,
yeah.
Is there another worst moment that you'd like to share with us while in campus?
In campus, one day, it's not my worst moment, but it's an intense moment. One day we were in a club. There was a club in campus, and I had friends, a group of friends, and kulikuwa na ukiingia club kuanga na like crews. It's a very evil thing. Like, I understand the mindset because I was there. Remember, I started going to clubs really at the age of about 14, 15. So by the time I'm 21, 22 in campus, mimi mtu nishaenda club a long time. I can go to any club at that time. So in clubs, uwezangi and a club is not like church where you just go alone. In club, you must have a crew because a fight inaweza toka, there's drugs, unaweza kewa mchele kwa nini, ukwe robbed, anything can happen. So you must have a crew. So I had my crew in campus, and there was another crew na wasikilizani. So napata kuna enemies we were my friends and another friends are enemies. So one day we go to campus, and tumekai hapo, and within a short time I was outside the club, fight ikatoka, and within fight imetoka, one of the guys yenye tulikuwa nayo stabs another guy, and akakimbia. So police wakakam, wakashika everybody. I always thank God for my mother's prayers. For some reason, I was talking to some lady. Venye niliona fight imetoka, this lady akaniambia si tuende. So I wasn't arrested. So that group enye ilikuwa hapo hivyo watu wakarestiwa. 2 days later, this guy died. This guy was stabbed. So that whole group waka-expeliwa from school. Campus. They could never join any campus again. So you see such a crazy thing. So that was an intense moment. And I have so many of those that I can't even remember all of them. Of near like, not death only, but near messed up scenarios experience. And then God somehow anapita na mimi in a very weird way. And you would think even after that we would stop drinking. No, we wouldn't.
You still have time.
We still go back because this is demonic. Yeah, addiction is of the devil. So you see, the devil came to destroy, to steal, to kill, to destroy. And this all began because Adam and Eve, when God gave them instructions and created everything perfectly and in love, kila mtu ako, everybody has a good identity in God. And then God gave them instructions, but then the devil came and deceived them. And then sin came into the world. We were separated from God. And that fall, that sin, that is what brings this emptiness that even I was experiencing. And it's only until Jesus came and paid back the price for that sin and brought us back to redeem us to God that we can now again enjoy true identity in Christ.
Okay. Okay.
And so after some time, I got deeper into drugs. So it was alcohol at first. Then sometimes once in a while cigarettes. Then weed. Weed was in campus. When I was off now, I was introduced to Kuber. You're laughing at him. Then there's something called Ndovu.
Ndovu?
Ndovu.
Okay.
Then there is some tobacco. It has a funny name I keep forgetting because it's an Indian name. Some tobacco there that people always use as well. I was introduced to that. Then later it got even to some level of taking Valium because I could not sleep. So I used to see the whole night. unless I'm in a club, I'm just awake because of the amount of, like, my body had gotten so used to these things. So I could not sleep the whole night. So for me to sleep, I had to use Valium. Then I sleep, and then sometimes Piriton. But I didn't like Piriton because it messes your body so much. So you see now, using all those combined, I forgot. There's even a time I was even using Mira. I used almost everything. But you know, when you get into so much drugs, your rationale is distorted. So I got into a risky lifestyle, one night stands, you know, behavior like that. And there's a time that I met a lady, and out of the relationship we had with her, a baby came up. Not even once, twice, but both of the scenarios, because I was scared of my parents, what they would say, and I just felt like I wasn't ready to take care of the child at the time. So we went for an abortion. Actually, I'm the one who really pushed it at that time. I was a pro-abortionist. I was those people who say abortion is every person's right. Let a woman do. And after that experience, I would say it's the biggest lie ever. It torments you. You feel immense guilt. Only God helped me later to overcome the guilt, because you see kids and you're like, you had a kid at a point who could have been, you know, this year old. And so that was an issue that also happened at the time in the past. And I think after the second experience is when I really realized I was sinking under and I need to, you know, meet God. I had several near-death experiences. And at that time, I remember even one time I was in a vehicle with some friends. Okay, we were going from one club to another, and then I went to the bathroom, the toilet, and my friends left me. And I don't know why. I think it's just my mother's prayers. So when Yaliniwacha, they left me, I was angry, like, why did they leave me going to another club called The Place? We were in a club in Kisumu called Monami. So we were going from Monami to The Place. And before The Place there's a police block or post. Many people know it when they go that route towards Mamboleo. So my friends got into a crossfire between the police and some criminals, like a gunfire in between. And luckily none of them died, but the car was shot up and God protected them and all that. But I just imagined if I was there, I don't know what could have happened. Such experiences were just happening around me. But the funny thing, I was still blind, that I wasn't seeing that the solution was really spiritual. I was seeing everything as a physical thing. Musically speaking, remember, hizi vitu zote zina happen. Like the more famous I get, the worse the life becomes. So it was so strange. Like, you find the point at which my friends are dying, all these things are happening, that's the point at which I'm also famous. Popular. So I don't know how spiritually connected this thing was. Like, you find when like right after this person died in our event, that's about the same period of time that I got a slot in Pulse magazine. So you find, like, I really can't understand. Like, it was like an upside down. Right after the abortion, that's when now really my music, yani career, just shot. Like, now I'm recording in Nairobi with Kina Calligraph Jones. I'm doing shows in Wapi and winning. You know, I met most of the celebrities, Kina Octopizo, Kina Chris Kentai, you know. Because I was recording with Hiram, I got to meet a lot of celebrities at that time. And so, and most of you know my friend Chris, he died as well. He was a very good friend of mine. We did.
Pastor's kids struggle with a lot of addiction. Would you kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel so that when we get into part 2 on Tommy's story, you will get it immediately.